Hey, what is up, guys? Today I'm going to be taking you through a battle ropes workout. Modifications will be included to make sure that you can progress properly. This workout is going to build muscle mass if you're a beginner, maintain muscle mass if you're intermediate or advanced, as well as burn fat, and also building an aerobic base as well. So, the very first exercise is going to be the alternating arm waves. So, I'm in a slightly squatted stance. My back is straight. I'm bracing my core the whole time. And I'm just going to move my arms up and down. Now, the primary focus here is going to be on the anterior delts, so the front parts of the shoulder. The elbow flexors are working a lot here, so the brachialis and the biceps. And we are getting some activation too in the lower body muscles as well. The quadriceps, hamstrings, or glutes, since we're in a squatted stance, they're isometrically contracting the whole time. Now, the modification for this one would just be to go at a lesser intense rate until your muscles get used to the stimulus, and then you could pick it up as time goes on. So, the second exercise is going to be the alternating split jump. Now, this is going to be one of the most metabolic exercises. There's going to be a little bit more emphasis on the legs in this one. So, the glutes, hamstrings, and quads are going to be getting a lot more activation. And also, we are getting some core, some arm work, as well as some shoulders in this one. Now, I will be providing modifications on showing how to progress up to this explosive movement. Okay, so the very first modification will just be the lunge with the assist. Now, you could put your hand on a wall or hand on a chair just to get used to the balance and the coordination associated with the lunge. This is just to get the stabilization down. Then once you have the motor pattern established with this movement, we can move on to the next. So after you become comfortable enough with the assistance either on the wall or on the chair, feel free to move on to the next progression, which is just the freestanding lunge. Okay, so now you're comfortable with the freestanding lunge. There's no issues with balance or coordination. You got the movement relatively down and are proficient with it. And it's just becoming too easy. You're getting too many repetitions. So let's add some weights in here and make it a little harder by adding some resistance. Okay, so now we have all the prerequisites needed to try out this incredible, explosive, athletic movement. So we have the strength that we got from by doing the resistance with the weights and the balance and the coordination down. Now, you could try out the plyometric jump with the stabilization afterwards. So what I mean by that is you do alternate one time each side, and then you land back on both feet, gain that stabilization, and get used to the movement, and then before you know it, you're able to do it continuously, and you don't even think about it. So the next exercise is actually overhead rope slam. This is a very explosive and metabolic movement, just like the last one. We're going to be putting a lot of emphasis on the shoulders and the lats. And there's going to be a lot of contraction, too, and also the lower body, too, from going up and down. It's similar to the motion of a squat, so we're getting activation in the quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes. And also the core, too. We're working the core explosively in this one, too, as well. Now, the modification for this one would actually be just to work at a lesser intensity than you normally would. And then once you get used to it, you could pick up the pace, pick up the explosiveness during that movement over time. Okay, so the next exercise is going to be focusing on the pushing muscles in the upper body, so the triceps and chest. As you can see here, this movement is the Superman push-up. It's a very explosive movement where the whole body comes off the ground. This is a very advanced movement. I will actually be making an entirely separate video on how to progress up to this movement, but it will be focusing on the chest, triceps, and the core too as well. So the modification for this one will just be a normal push-up. So you'll go down, you'll do your normal push-up, and then you'll alternate arm waves each side. So it's going to target the chest, triceps, and also the shoulders too as well. And there's also some core work involved. Now, if you want to make it even easier, you could go to your knees too. That will decrease the resistance. It's important to work at any variation that you need to in order to properly progress. So the last and final exercise will just be the jumping jack with the battle rope. Now the primary focus here is going to be on the shoulders and also to the adductors, so the muscles on the inside of the hips, and the abductors, which would be the muscles on the outside of the hips. Now these are relatively small muscle groups, just like the rotator cuffs and rotator cuff muscles in the shoulder. But they are important because they can be neglected, so it is important to implement them in your training session or your program or whatever you got going on, because they do play a role to make sure that you can perform optimally. Now, the modification for this one would just be just to do normal jumping jacks without the battle rope, so no resistance, and then once you get used to it, you could implement the battle rope into your routine. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're a beginner, don't overcomplicate this. You will most likely respond to any stimulus that you throw at the body. Train hard, smart, be consistent, and keep your nutrition in check, and I promise you the results will come. So, I just want to say one last thing. In this picture, I'm by no means shredded, but this physique, I feel as though an ideal physique for a man and a woman. You know, being somewhat lean and having a little bit of muscle mass. And believe it or not, this is achieved by resistance training and cardio, and that's one of the reasons why I did the battle ropes workout, is because it takes both of them training variables and combines them into one. And like I said, this is a completely attainable physique for anybody. There's no magical formula here. Just train hard, smart, be consistent, and keep your nutrition in check. And like I said before, you will get to where you need to be.